Just over 1 year ago, Dead Island 2 finally released after making us wait 9 long years. But I for one think it was very much worth the wait, and in my opinion, it was one of my favourite games of 2023. So today, we're going to look back at the game over the last 12 months and discuss the good, the bad, and where Dead Island 2 is now. If you enjoy this video and are still playing this game 1 year later, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below your thoughts and opinions on Dead Island 2. Now, one thing I have to admit out the gate is that this was my first Dead Island game. The original released when I was only 11, and I still remember feeling traumatized after watching the announcement trailer. But when the sequel released over a decade later, I was 22, so I thought, hey, I'm a big boy now, let's give this a shot. At the beginning of Dead Island 2, what really stood out to me was how colourful the game was. Other zombie games are typically gloomy and ominous, but I really liked the parallel between a vibrant Los Angeles and a gory zombie apocalypse. I also got a show appreciation for the world of Hell A. The designs for each region and the zombies in it fit aesthetically well with the game setting, which made exploring really fun. However, I do think the sizes of most, if not all, of the locations are far too small, especially when you compare them to the first Dead Island. The sizes of these places would be expected in DLC content, but to get so little in the time it's been in development is disappointing to say the least. Now, as a new player, I immediately assumed this was a brute force hack and slash like Dead Rising, for example, but I soon realised how important stealth became. The introduction of alarms in buildings and in cars was a really cool attention to detail that made me rethink a lot of my approaches. Even though stealth is merely an option, I think we can all agree that one of the most satisfying aspects of this game was mutilating all the zombies. Like, we gotta give props to the people who designed the weapons, as they looked really good and felt like they packed a punch. The guns in this game are pretty good also. Even though it takes you around 2 to 3 hours to get your first firearm, the mission when you get it and try it out is very fun. Although, as you progress through the story, you eventually get your hands on OP legendary guns and ammo no longer becomes an issue. At that point, the game personally felt far too easy. Don't get me wrong, I love OP weapons, and making a zombie disappear from the press of a button is very fun. But I think ammo should be, a more valuable and rarer commodity than it actually is, especially in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Another topic I want to touch on is the game's story. It had its great and sad moments like Michael's death, the return of Sam B, and even the lore of the goat pen reminded me of a specific YouTube group. But in terms of the main story's conclusion, it did have some similarities with The Walking Dead, such as everyone on the planet being infected with the virus and human testing on loved ones. So yeah, this made the Dr. Reed situation at the end of the game a little cliche. Then, Lola Conrad, who is quite a cryptic character, didn't really have a big impact on the narrative, but perhaps in future installments, she could be lined up to be the main villain for the whole franchise moving forward. In the end, despite the pros and cons, I still really enjoyed my playthrough of Dead Island 2. However, if there was one thing that I could introduce, I would make the game harder. Or better yet, I would add difficulty options. I know the game has level scaling, but there was no moment during the playthrough where I felt the combat was challenging or near impossible. So, if I had the power, I would add a nightmare mode where the game is always nighttime, ammo is more rare, but guns are slightly more powerful to compensate. I would make the zombie hordes larger with a very slight speed increase, bosses not included, but the health and damage for each variant stays the same, and if you die, you of course have to start over. I think an option like this would be perfect for a post-apocalypse game like Dead Island 2, so if any devs are watching or listening, hopefully this is something that could be implemented in the future. Now, onto the main question of the video. Where is Dead Island 2 now, 1 year after release? Firstly, Dead Island 2 has finally arrived on Steam after the 1 year exclusivity deal with Epic Games, but a lot of players have experienced issues from crashes to even loading the game, but a fix is currently on the way. But other than that, there are a couple of post-launch content updates for you to try out that follow up on the main story. House, which takes us to a mansion in Malibu, is home to a brainwashed cult with an obsession with immortality, and then Solar, which released just the other day, takes place at a music festival where the music seems to be triggering the virus and we have to stop it. Both DLCs are pretty good as they help connect the dots and expand the story while introducing new zombie variants and fun new weapons to try out. However, I think that both House and Solar are a bit too short, each taking around just 3 hours to finish, and some elements are a little repetitive, but for the most part, I enjoyed them, the dialogue was fun as always, and I am very excited for what's next. Currently, there aren't any announced updates for Year 2, however, I would possibly expect maybe 1 or 2 more DLCs like House and Solar to release throughout the year. But for now, if you're looking to have some fun, laughs, and carnage, Dead Island 2 remains as one of the best zombie games currently available on the market. I do want to hear what you guys think though. Do you like the game? Do you hate it? Is there anything you would change? Be sure to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed and are still slashing zombies to this day, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Much love everyone, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.